wouldn't be
a live event if something did go wrong.
Of course.
This is what I was saying. We good or?
Okay, so we are up on Facebook. We are up on Hopin.
Everybody's waiting on pins and needles.
We're back up on YouTube.
We're good. So right now, everybody can hear me again. We're back up. Sorry, everyone. We had when you're doing a live show, things happen. If we didn't mention it yet, we're in Union City, Pennsylvania, at the Snap-Type factory, and it is snowing here today. I woke up with 4 inches of snow on the ground, and we drove to the factory in it, and I just couldn't believe it. So maybe it's the snow, maybe it's a live event, and you know. It happens. Yeah. So we get over it, we move on. We were talking about the, and sorry to everybody watching that we dumped out, but we're back, and that's just part of the game of doing a live show. So, Mike, we're back. You and I, Mike Woods from Snap-Tight Hose, and myself here, Jeremy from National Fire Radio. We're back, and we're talking about the Gladiator FM. Let's talk about, so we talked about the 15-minute protection, and in fact, it can go longer than that, right? And I compared it to working conditions. So we want that to be paired with a hose and nozzle package that allows for the correct flows. And so this hose comes with it, right? It is a incredible piece of equipment and hose to put in your hands, but it doesn't have to be the entire 200-foot or 300-foot lay.
Correct.
Let's talk about that.
Correct. You could pair it with the Gladiator Classic, you know, the 100 feet of that, with the lead FM hose being the first 50 feet in.
Right.
As long as you package it, marry it up that way.
Yep. So we want the same ID through, right? So the leader length or the nozzle length, or 2 lengths behind the nozzle, say 50 or 100. That's what we're going to be pushing in through buildings. That's what's going to be in the drop down and in the burned out contaminants. That's going to be the metal door frames we talked about the other night at dinner. I mean, we had Steve Robertson. We were talking about the technology of this hose and what a potential game changer it could be. And he mentioned about how often they lose lines, right? And it's not just him. It's any urban engine company that's going to a lot of fires. You know, you're looking at metal door frames. You're looking at cuts and tears, drop down polymers, and the plastics that are burning these days hotter and longer, and so on. So what this length or 2 does is off the nozzle to basically the exterior of the house provides you that protection.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
The importance of pairing nozzles too. So what Snap-Tight has done, Chris, I don't know if you could just pan over to the box over here real quick, which is the Gladiator Firemaster logo. And what's really cool about this is a pairing package that you guys decided to put together. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. The package is, you know, you buy the system, you know, and it is the 1.75-inch hose with the nozzle. Okay, so we want to pair not only the hose but the nozzle with the Gladiator FM hose.
So you're going to get 50 feet. So this is based on a 200-foot line, correct?
Yeah.
You're going to get 150 of the Gladiator Classic.
And then you're going to get 50 feet of the FM.
And currently in it is a 7/8 smoothbore Elkhart nozzle that you guys decided to put in with your pairing.
Correct.
It's an incredible package. They are out there, and it should be said that we're going to hit on this in a little while, but your regional sales managers that are out in the field will have samples to share and to spread the education and knowledge about this hose out in the field.
Absolutely.
Very cool.
Yep.
This is an incredible product that the launch today and discussing this should really start a conversation talking about hose failures. Through conversation with this with many in the industry, you know, it's one of those things that we don't track. There's no traceability as to how often a line will fail out in the field. And typically it's a band-aided fix, right? The line burns through. Typically it's not a catastrophic failure.
Right.
In the Boston incident, that was a catastrophic failure, right? Because it just got so hot so fast. But a lot of times we're going to get burned through, we'll get leakage, we'll get sprays, cuts. This is abrasion resistance as well, right? Cut and abrasion resistance.
Absolutely, yes.
So through this technology, you're providing a much better part of the weapons package to go after fire.
Exactly.
I love it. If you have any questions on the FM product line, feel free to reach out. We are going to do some question and answer during this event, so it's going to be hard to monitor all the different feeds that we're on, but if you're on YouTube or Facebook or our Hop-In app where the registration was, you're welcome to put a question in. We do have a lot of people offset here that are monitoring, and if there are any questions, we'd be happy to answer them if we have time here. If not, well, we certainly will get to it, and Mike and his team will answer any questions that anybody would have. And if you're interested in seeing this firsthand as well, let them know. They'd be loved. The best thing about this is being a part of the community. Talking to the firefighters, talking to the departments, and the people that make decisions down to the backstep firefighter. Because at the end of the day, whether you're a chief or a firefighter, we're all firefighters.
Right.
So, let's have this conversation. Let's snap tight, introduce that FM line to the firefighting world, and let's show what the technology and what the drive you guys are doing is all about. So, I love that. Cool. Did we miss anything on the FM? Jeff, anything on the FM that we missed?
It's a great hose.
Beautiful.
People to try it.
I appreciate that. Beautiful. So like I said, let them know. Reach out to your dealer network and reach out to SnapTight and let them know that you want to see it and you want to try it. Why don't we move on? There's another product line that we wanted to focus on today. I have it right here in front of me and so on. It's the Kryptonite LDH. Large diameter hose.
Large diameter hose.
It's not sexy. It's not a sexy conversation, right? It's large diameter hose. We drop it at the hydrant and we lay in, or we lay out, or we go truck to truck, and it's a supply issue. It's not that attack package, right? But the importance of it, right? So I want to talk about the Kryptonite product line. It's been out for a few years.
Yes.
You have it in many urban settings and suburban settings as well. A lot of great success stories coming from it. Explain to me the difference between this and, say, our typical rubber LDH that is out in the field for the last 25 years.
Okay, so the typical LDH rubber extruded through the weave hose. 5-inch hose, coupled 5-inch storage couplings, 100-foot lengths, weighs anywhere between 118 and 132 pounds. Okay, through that process, extruded through the weave, you can make a lot of hose in a short period of time. Okay, but I want everybody to know that all extruded rubber hoses, all rubber hoses, have to go through a process what they call perforation, where we're actually pinpricking the cover of the hose. So when the hose is vulcanized, when the nitrile rubber is vulcanized, okay, those perforation holes act as chimneys to allow the gases to escape.
Right.
If you didn't do that, the cover would blister and it would be scrap. The problem is, okay, when you set that extruder up on the extruder head, if you've got that head off just a little bit, and you saw it the other day
Yes.
when we were extruding,
Yep.
we're pulling that fabric through there, we're making the liner and the cover at the same time. If that is off a little bit, you're going to put more rubber on one side, less rubber on the other side. Problem number one.
Right.
That's going to make it hard to fold. Where it's thick, that's what makes rubber hard to fold.
Right.
Okay? Number two, the problem is when it goes through the perforation, okay, when we pin it on the top, we pin it on the bottom, the thin spot on that hose, that's the weakest part of that hose. And that's what everybody has seen. Everybody has seen that rubber hose that sweats,
Yeah,
beads
absolutely.
of water come
Yep.
out. That's what it is. That's the thin spot. As that hose over the time is charged and it stretches and goes back,
Expands and
it
contracts.
expands, that water starts to wick up through the liner and it gets into those perforation, okay, and it starts, that's what you see, those beads of sweat.
Right.
Okay, and it'll continue to get worse and worse.
Until you have a rupture or a burst.
Until you have a
or-
rupture.
Yeah.
So with the extruded through the weave polyurethane, totally different material. Okay, polyurethane material is 5 times better abrasion resistance than rubber or double jacket. Okay, the extrusion process itself is totally different. So when we extrude the nitrile rubber hose, it has to go through another step of curing. We have to vulcanize. We have to cure that rubber. With extruded polyurethane hose, when it's extruded, it's finished. Okay?
Yeah.
It's cured. The only thing we have to do is we have to size it to its internal diameter size. So Kryptonite does not have perforation. Kryptonite will never pack or will never weep because of the material we can control the concentricity better on the polyurethane, okay, not putting as much as much material on it. So kryptonite weighs less
Yes.
than the average rubber hose. Kryptonite, 5-inch, 100-foot section, coupled with 5-inch doors, weighs about 96 pounds. Versus 118, 132.
Right.
So at the end of the day, when you've got to pack all that back up, that's a huge difference.
Sure.
Packing the weight of that, packing it back on, because of the thinness of the overall construction. Kryptonite will, as I call it, parade pack better in the back of the hose.
Sure.
Okay. And one of the other options that we can offer with the kryptonite is, because we manufacture it, we're in total control of it there, we can offer up to 125 up to 150 feet in length.
And so let's talk about that functionality of that, right? That's one less coupling. So for every 2 lengths of 150 custom length in the kryptonite, you're at 3 standard lengths. It's one less coupling in the bed.
Right. You've got more room in your hose bed for hose, not stacking couplings in there.
Mike, also this process too, correct me if I'm wrong, but the way this lays, right? Can you speak to that as well? Because
Okay.
functionally on a fire ground, when we're arriving, whether your companies are laying in or laying out, and we start getting the second due and third due and fourth due pieces there, how we lay our supply lines are critical, right? And if the first due engine can screw up the entire fire scene by laying in and leaving a mess because of the way it's laid, right? So let's talk about that for a minute, because functionality-wise, for me, that is a huge selling point, is just how this hose lays.
Okay. So in the extrusion of the nitro rubber hose, it's extruded in 700-foot lengths, okay? And backing up to the weaving process, we're weaving this product in a clockwise rotation. So we're actually building that twist into the hose. Now when you lay and charge a nitro rubber hose, it snakes.
Sure.
Okay?
We've all seen it. Absolutely.
We've all seen it.
Yeah.
There's no way for the manufacturer to take that snake
Out of it.
out of it. With the kryptonite, the process we do, and not vulcanization, we do normalization. So during the normalization part of it, we actually take that and neutralize. When you charge kryptonite, it lays straight; it doesn't snake, which is a huge advantage.
For
If
sure.
you're in a big city and you've got no room to move, you've got small, narrow streets, you don't want your hose blowing all over the place and somebody running it over.
Well, absolutely,
You
right?
know, so-
Absolutely. And it makes for setting up the scene just that much better. I would have never have known without being here and talking with you that the way hose is deployed and laid is directly impacted by how it's manufactured.
Exactly. So when we're extruding, when you're extruding, you're putting a lot of stress on those yarns,
Right.
okay? Because we're pulling it through the extruder, okay, to make the hose. When you charge that hose,
Yeah.
okay, those yarns, they want to go all over the place. But by the process of normalizing them, when we normalize those yarns relax back
Got
down into the hose.
Yeah.
And the end result is when you charge kryptonite, it lays straight. Because we don't have to perforate it with perforation, the TPX will never weep. So the advantage is lays straight when you charge it, doesn't weep over time, extruded through the weave. It has a lifetime guarantee against liner delamination. Lighter than the average LDH hose out there,
Yeah.
and available in longer than 100-foot lengths.
And we should focus on those two a couple things, right? Real quick. Greater resistance to punctures and abrasions, right? No mildew or rot.
Right.
When you pack 5-inch and it's wet, that old rubber 5-inch and it's wet and it sits in the firehouse and it bakes and it dries and you get that mildew smell.
Stink.
Right? Yeah. And, rotating beds and so on. So, an urban engine company where they're deploying their supply line on a consistent basis and they might only have 500 or 1,000 feet because they have hydrants, so close to each other, they don't necessarily have that problem all the time. But suburban departments, rural departments where they might have 2,000 feet of 5-inch supply line because they're doing longer lays and they're not going to fires every day, that bed's not getting flipped around and deployed and then repacked. And so, that is a very, very real thing. The other thing, too, is it's guaranteed for life.
Right.
It will never delaminate.
It will never delaminate.
Can you talk about delaminating real quick, just so people understand? I mean, I get it, but it's also because we've had this conversation.
Right. Delamination is the internal lining of the hose where it separates from the material itself, and it'll bunch up in there and then restrict the waterway.
Right, which can and will happen over time.
Exactly.
Yeah, but not with the kryptonite,
Not with the
because it's not manufactured in that way.
Right.
Incredible. Good. Do we have anything else on the kryptonite that we missed?
Available in the high-vis green
Do
and
it.
the blaze orange. The high-vis green, we picked that color. That's a recognizable one for school crossings. That's that lime green color. And then the blaze orange, that is construction. So with that in mind, that's the two colors that we offer for the kryptonite.
Gotcha.
It's available, like I said, in 150s, 25s, custom lengths, whatever.
Sure. I love it. Good. Mike, thank you for the kryptonite information. I appreciate that. Off screen, we do have a couple questions coming in, I think, from the FM conversation.
Kryptonite now. So we're going to start with
Oh, kryptonite. Go ahead.
One comment, someone says 150-foot 5-inch supply line is an awesome option. So that was a good call from a viewer. And then another viewer asks, have you been impressed with the packability of of the big kryptonite? Suggestions.
The uniqueness of it is because it's so lightweight. When you stack it, standard rubber hose or double jacket hose will press down on itself. The lightweightness of this, it doesn't allow that to do that as readily as rubber hose. But when you break down the hose, fold the coupling over so air doesn't suck up in there. Drain the water out. That hose will flatten down pancake style, and you'll be able to pack it a lot better.
Perfect.
Yeah, good. Thank you, Mike. Good points. That was the kryptonite. Do you have, you want to circle back to the FM? Go ahead. What are your questions on the FM?
A viewer asks, on the FM hose, flow, friction loss, kink resistance at smooth bore, in parentheses, package pressures.
You want to hit it?
The packability.
Yeah. So we're looking for flow rates, correct? I think they're looking for, right? And it is a 177.
177 internal waterway.
Right. So on an 1 3/4, 177, we should be expecting to get.
It is.
At 50 psi, you should be able to get 165 gallons per
Okay.
minute.
Yeah.
I think that the coefficient of friction is somewhere around 13%.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
And we're gonna talk about this tonight too. We're gonna address more of the, with the engine gurus that we have in house tonight on the roundtable. That is really going to be a very forward conversation on your numbers. So you can get back tonight, but we will also address that and we will get you the actual stats. I don't think I have the chart. We don't have the chart in front of us.
We
So.
don't have that.
Okay.
The entire Gladiator line has extremely good kink resistance. The entire line.
Yeah.
Good.
Gladiator FM all the way up through the Classic.
Excellent.
Those are the next two questions, actually. One was, what is the true diameter of this hose? And you guys answered that question. And then how is this hose when it comes to kink resistance? So do you want to touch on that, Mike?
The kink resistance is excellent on that. It's built for low pressures, anti-kinking.
Awesome. And we can get you the stats and statistics and all of that. And that is truly working through your dealer network. But also with this event today, it opens up a lot of communication back and forth. So I'm sure your team can get them the actual
all
facts
our
and figures.
RSMs
Awesome.
have this hose, and they're them.
Good. Rolling forward, we're going to be bringing on a new guest to sit down with Mike, and I'm going to exit stage left here. I do want to introduce Captain Brent Brooks from the Toronto, Canada Fire Department, and he is with High Rise Firefighting Training Company. Brent, come in. Let me get out of the way. I would love for you guys to please have a seat. I know I'm off camera, but I'm going to slide in behind you for a minute to do just a little conversation. We are going to go over the LD hose. And I would love for you guys have a good relationship and a good working relationship and friendship. And you guys were able to put together a package for the Toronto Fire Department that works very well. And so I'd love for you guys to speak to that. Introduce the LD hose, Mike. And then you guys please have a story and tell your story as to what the LD hose does for Toronto.
Okay. The LD hose is a high-rise standpipe style attack line. It is an extruded through the weave nitro rubber hose available in the 45 millimeter 1 3/4 and the 65 millimeter 2.5 for the high rise application standpipe. It is available in the standard red, yellow, and blue colors, and all the available couplings, threads, styles, types of couplings like that. So with this, Brent, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Yeah, actually, I'm quite impressed that you're bilingual when it comes to the metric system. You have 45 and 65
You taught me that.
millimeter.
You taught me that.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had quite the process with our department, and the firefighters out there that know standpipe operations, we were using 1.5-inch hose line with fog nozzles, and firefighters know that is a big no-no. So my biggest task was, how do we go up multiple hose sizes from 1.5 inches with a fog nozzle? And it wasn't just about changing the hose, it was going from a fog nozzle to a smoothbore. So that in itself was big. The rubber hose at that time had a bad stigma, so now I'm changing from what we used to call cotton jacket to rubber. So every time we tried to do something, I was adding another layer that made it more complicated to actually make this happen. So we put it out to all the manufacturers. This is the type of hose that we want for standpipe operations, and send us, we'll test it. And we did, and we weren't happy with anyone. The problem was we felt like we were trying to create something that wasn't invented yet. We wanted something light, we wanted something durable, and we wanted something that could be clean, that firefighters are wearing, next to their face, or shoulder load or bottle load, and we couldn't find it. So we had all these different hoses come to us. We were weighing them. We were into like the 40 pounds, 35 pounds. The kit that we have now is 35 pounds, but it was short by 50 feet. The other thing we had to do was, we're going to get the captain now to carry a 50-foot section of hose. So we can't make it heavy. We can't make it 40 pounds. So we started weighing hose, we started doing drills, and we weren't happy with it. We talked to other manufacturers, and they said, nope, that hose doesn't exist. We talked to you, and you said, let me think about it for a minute. And then that's how this relationship kind of came about. So you actually sent us this hose, and we tried it and tested it. We loved the weight of it. And then we thought, well, if he was able to figure this out at 20 pounds, which is fantastic.
We had originally sent you some hose, and it weighed 38, 35 pounds, and you're like, that's way too much. We can't do that.
And my boss, when it came, and said, don't unwrap anything. Weigh it, and if it doesn't weigh, then send it back. So we had lots of boxes that we would weigh, and we would send them back without opening, because it just didn't meet that spec. So then one day we get a box from you, and I weighed it, and I couldn't believe it. I get to open a box now. So I open the box, I see the hose, and we tried testing it. So it worked. It was very successful. But then we started getting a little picky, and we thought we'd press our luck, and we asked you, can we get our 32-inch mark on it? And most importantly, can we get a mid mark at the 25-foot mark put on the hose? And you said, absolutely. And you sent it to us. But there was still a problem. Because we wanted a hose that was cleaner for firefighters, and then we could wear it, the markings didn't stick. So we made you aware of that, and you came out with new markings, and it sticks. So I really think you've nailed this. Yeah. So the customized stencing that you'd asked for, you wanted markings at the first fold, which is 32 inches from the female coupling. Right. I said, we can do that. We can do that. And then you asked for a mid mark, halfway, the length of the hose. Absolutely, we can do that. Because when you get 300-400 sections of hose and delivered, and you've got to lay it all out and mark it yourself, that takes time and effort. And it does. And when it comes to high-rise firefighting, if it's a scissor stairs or return stairs, that mid mark, we're looking for that. Right. On a hose pack that's in a bundle. And there it is. Right. It's a second bite from the nozzle side, and there's our mid mark. We grab that. We do a gravity assisted stretch. Whatever stretch we do, that mid mark is so critical for us. The 32-inch mark, not so critical, but however, post fire for packing it up, it is ideal.
Right.
So we have a product now that weighs 20 pounds. It is lighter, it is faster, it is durable, and we're having great success with it.
And easy to clean.
And easy to clean. So we've trained 3,000 firefighters with it. It's wearing down the metal parts, but that's thousands of deployments, and I'm very, very happy with it.
The lugs.
The lugs start to
the
wear down.
couplings.
That is metal wearing down,
Yeah.
and we're still using it. Very happy with the hose.
So you get weather like we get here. I mean, it's hot in the summertime and it's freezing cold in the wintertime. How does it work in both of those?
It works great in the wintertime. We had ideal temperatures. We had freezing rain. Not that we're going to have that inside a high-rise fire, but most departments will call this high-rise packs. We're calling them hose packs. So we can use them for high-rise, we can use them for garden walk-ups, we can use them for even factories and warehouses. We use them with our standpipe kit. So we actually needed that double-edged sword, a hose pack, not a high-rise pack. So we're actually doing both, and it works. It does work in cold weather.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we've actually named this, when we get the purchase orders, TFD, it's the Toronto Fire.
Oh, wow,
Department.
fantastic.
Yeah, it is.
That's news to me. And when we do the folds, we do the packing. I mean, everything about it is fantastic. We put a hose strap on it. We get it nice and tight. Again, we're wearing it on our shoulder. Right here is where we're breathing. We want this to be clean, and it is. If we choose to load it on our bottles, same type of deal. If you self load it, it works. If you get someone to hold on to it, it works. That's great. It truly is.
Good. Let me come back in on the stage here. Brent, sit for 1 second, please. And I just want to make sure that we hit on everything on the LD. Great story. It's a part of, you got me on camera, good. It's a part of what SnapTight does best, right? Is that there's a problem, or you're looking for some answers to a solution, and they were able to come through for you and do that. So through that comes a relationship between SnapTight and the Toronto Fire Department, but also personal friendships too, where it's all part of the package of delivering the right product and the right value.
And one thing I forgot to say was we had a flow that we had to meet, and we could not go with a smaller diameter hose to meet that flow. So we had to go with a 2.5 inch or 65 millimeter hose just to meet those flows.
Right.
But then we're asking for an impossible task to make it lighter and durable, and they were able to do that.
Yeah. Awesome. And we're going to talk more about this tonight during the Engine Company Roundtable. We're going to get into really what you do very well is high-rise firefighting and fire flows with your hose packages and so on. So we're going to talk about that more tonight. So Brent, thank you very much for hopping up on stage. I appreciate it. Good. Thank you. And Mike, you're stuck with me. I'm coming back up here. So we're gonna roll into So here we are. We talked about the FM. We got into the kryptonite, and now the LD. Brent, thank you very much for hopping in and being a part of the conversation. If anybody has any questions on the LD, on the process, or what SnapTight did to provide that value, that's an open conversation that can be had at any time. And reach out through your dealer network and through SnapTight. Jeff, what do you have for us?
Some information to answer the question on friction loss. With a 7/8 smooth bore, the Firemaster will get 160 gallons per minute with a 12.5 coefficient of friction loss.
Okay.
And in terms of kink, the 90-degree kink, at 150 GPM, you're down to 48 PSI, starting with a 50 PSI at the tank.
Good.
So it's really an excellent hose.
And all this information is available online, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you can go to SnapTight's website, which is, I have it right here, www.snaptighthose.com, and you can find the information. You could also, maybe whoever's monitoring the chat, if you want to put that information in the chat, maybe Vanessa, you can get that information put in the chat for the people that are monitoring and watching now, and then we could pass that information on later. With the FM, understand that this is a new product, and so it is just launched, and so it's going to take a little bit of time to ramp up the production to get it out to the masses, if you will. But what it does offer is now that it's being talked about, the information can get out there.
Right.
And educating the dealers was this morning, and we did that this morning, working with the dealer network to explain the new hose and the technology. So we'll get the facts and figures out there. SnapTight will certainly get that information out there.
Right.
Good. Thank you, Mike. So listen, we talked about 3 very distinct items that SnapTight has done and done well, which kind of changes the game a little bit as to how flexible and how dialed in you are into what we want as firefighters out in the street. And so with that, I want to talk about some other things that SnapTight does very well and what I've learned about your company. You and Brent hit on it a little bit in the conversation before, marking the mid-lengths, right? So let's talk about some of the customizable things you do that are just standard course for SnapTight, right? So when it comes to hoses, what can you guys offer as well? The stenciling and so on?
Yeah,
Go ahead, Mike.
we offer free customized stenciling on the hoses, which includes, if you want a mark midway on the hose, we do that. It doesn't cost anything extra for that. Consecutive numbering for your hose line, hand lines, we do that. There's no upcharge for any of the stenciling, extra
Right.
customized stenciling on the hoses.
Fold lines too, which I think Brent talked about, right?
Exactly.
How important that is. So on your extended lay bundles or your high-rise packs, to be able to have that, typically I know in my department we do it based on our arm's length, and that's kind of a rough estimate, but it would be nice to have the markings on those bundles so that we know how to re-rack it very quickly.
Yep,
So
you just tell us what you need on that, put
Right.
it on the purchase order, and we'll execute it.
I love that.
So it gets on.
That's all done in the factory by hand too. I've seen that process. It's unbelievable. And so on. And then let's talk about something else you guys offer. It's called the Hose Vault.
Hose Vault.
Let's educate the people that are watching and are going to watch this. What is the SnapTight Hose Vault?
The hose vault, it's been around for a long time, and we just recently spent a lot of money on updating it to the 21st century
Right.
here as a mobile app and that. And it's a free online service that we provide at no cost. All you have to do is go on, create an account, register, and then you can keep track of all your hose. Per NFPA, you have to keep track. NFPA says you keep track of your hose from cradle to death, okay? Every one of our hoses that are tested, every coupled hose is 100% hydrostatically tested. And with that, we also put in a unique 10-digit barcode sticker on the hose. From that sticker, you purchase the hose. When we test that hose, it takes on your identity.
Right.
And you can use that information, create an account, and you can download that information into your account, and you can keep track of that hose from the day you get it until the day you take it out of
You know, it's wild. You breezed right over it, but it should be said that you guys test every single length manufactured.
Every coupled lengths of hose is 100%.
It's not batch tested. No. It is every single length, and I think that is one of those things that speaks volumes to how important the testing and quality control is of the SnapTight product.
And with that testing, there is a printed test certificate with that information on it. It'll take your identity. It's a 10-digit barcode number. It'll say the date that it was tested. It'll have the employee's clock number, who tested it, and the date and time that it was tested. So we have all that traceability.
Yeah, and accountability. Absolutely. So that's the Hose Vault. You can find it through SnapTight's website, social media. If you have any questions, again, reach out to the dealer. Reach out to SnapTight's team here at the factory. They can get you there. I think it's a simple fill out some information, you register an account, and off you go.
And off you go.
Pretty cool. That is a nice value-added service that you guys bring to the table for sure. Let's talk about your demo hose program. This is pretty interesting. You know, walking the factory, there's hose. I mean, there is hose, and it's every color, every size. I mean, there's 12-inch supply line out there that you guys do for the industrial. I mean, it is really an incredible sight when you walk the factory floor here to see everything that's happening and all the different sizes and products that you do manufacture here.
Right.
So with the hose demo program, let's talk about that. What does SnapTight offer in the world of, if I call Mike Woods tomorrow and say, Mike, I'd love to try your new Gladiator Classic, how do I get on that?
Well, what we do is we offer demo hose through our distributors. We have our distributors send in a purchase order identifying, hey, I need 4 lengths of Gladiator Classic delivered to X.
Yeah, whatever department, right?
Okay. Purchase order comes in, and it's just like the library. Okay. If that hose is in the demo library, color doesn't matter. Yellow, red, whatever it is. We got 4 lengths. We package it up and we ship it out. No cost to the customer or to the distributor. We ship it out. We do the demo. It's allowed to be out for a period of 6 weeks. When they're done, all we ask is make arrangements. We bring it back through our RGA system.
Right.
We'll pick it up, bring it back, and hopefully we've got our RSM there.
Sure.
With the flow.
Which we're going to hop in. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's try it before you buy it.
Yeah.
Okay. It is a service that we provide. Hey, try this hose before you buy it.
Yeah, and what I like about it too, and Rob made a good point of it earlier, is I've seen demos before where they'll send you 100 feet. And what's 100 feet going to do for me, right? Yeah. So if your attack package is a 200-foot attack package, you'd be willing to send those 4 lengths. If it's 250, you send the 5 because, not to speak for you, but through conversation, you guys want to send what the customer's using. Put a realistic expectation and put the line they want at their hands.
Right.
Yeah, perfect.
Right.
So that is available. Reach through your dealer network to the end user, to the different fire departments and districts out there and so on. Reach out, start the conversation with the dealers because they're the boots on the ground that are supporting that SnapTight brand, right?
Right.
You guys can't do everything from the factory, so you have to rely on a dealership network to get the message out there, and to do that, the customer sometimes initiates that conversation.
Right.
That's awesome. So hose is available. Let them know. Let's talk about the regional sales managers. You did bring it up, and it is a really an incredible value-added service that you guys bring to the table. Explain to me about your regional sales managers.
The regional sales managers, we have them, 6 of them located throughout the
Different territories.
different territories that they're responsible for, and we provide them demo trucks. Each one of the RSMs with a demo truck, which is outfitted with all our products.
Right.
So our RSMs are available at any time to go with you, the distributor, to the end user and educate the end user on our products.
So it's pretty cool. We did a little bit of content with National Fire Radio with John Burkhart, who is one of your regional sales managers up in the Northeast. And I know John just because of where I live in my territory and so on. And he showed off his truck. So he has a heavy-duty pickup with a slide-out. It's got all the equipment. It even has a hard sleeve on it, which is pretty wild, right? And they're outfitted to help support the dealers, but getting that product in the hands of fire departments.
Right.
And so if you're interested in having that demo truck, the regional sales manager come through your department and you want to see the SnapTight offering, all you have to do is put it through your dealership or let SnapTight know that you'd like to see an RSM at your doorstep, and they'll make those arrangements to make it happen.
Absolutely.
I love it. I mean, this it's piling on that value added that the SnapTight brand offers. It's all about believing in your product, and you guys certainly do because you want to put it in the hands of the customer. When you have a good product,
right,
all you have to do is give it to the customer, and they sign on.
Yeah. The product sells itself.
I get it, Mike. They can do on-location testing. You sample the product on your own turf, flow testing at your departments, and it's hose and nozzle packages, and they can help you. They have a kink test. They do everything right there at your fingertips. I'm just punching through my list here of notes to make sure I didn't miss anything. The last thing we do need to talk about, which is super important, is the testing and quality control that does occur here on the property of SnapTight at both plants. Right. Burst tests, burn through tests, right, and so on. Could you just talk about, you don't have to go into the individual tests, but the processes behind it and how important quality control and testing is for you?
Yeah, quality control is very important. I mean, that is, us policing, the process.
Yeah.
Okay. And the setup of when we set up a loom, we're gonna make hose. Okay. We set up the loom for fabric. Okay. We've got to make the jacket. We've got to make the meat and potatoes of the hose. Okay. So we'll set the loom up and get it all set up. Run a piece. We'll run a sample piece of 3 feet of fabric.
Right.
before we turn that loom on, that sample piece is taken down to quality, and we do an internal burst test on it. Now, it's every hose model is built to its own specification, okay? But every hose model that we offer from 1 inch all the way to 12 inch is designed to burst in the same way. We want this hose to burst horizontally, lengthwise.
In line with the line.
Not
Yeah.
in half, so
Right.
you've got a projectile at it.
Right.
So we'll do a setup on the loom. We'll run a sample piece. We'll do a burst on that, and only after that sample has passed the burst test and all the other crimp tests and IDs, making sure that everything is to the spec. Only after it's passed the burst test will quality actually allow production to start running that loom.
Got it.
So once the loom starts running, we start making fabric. Then it goes through the process, and now we're going to we're going to make a finished product. Okay. So we're going to, when the first batch of that finished product is done, we're going to take a sample of that finished product, and we're going to do another burst on it to make sure that nothing has happened during the process that would compromise that hose.
Yeah.
And we've got these records. These records go back before
Yeah, I remember we were in the one
Exactly.
room and you were explaining that, which is incredible.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's our way of life every day.
So you hit on something here, which I just want to. It exemplifies the brand, right? And you keep talking about the process, extruded through the weave, the thread, and all of that. And frankly, before I came to Snap Type my first time to see the process and do the plant tour with you, I had no idea what went into the process of really manufacturing a fire hose. And the fact that you guys are a yarn factory first with the looms and you weave the inner jacket, if you will, right? And I don't want to misspeak, but the whole process. But can you just, before we start to wrap, I'd love to just walk through the process, because from an outsider looking in, here's my fire hose.
There it is.
Right? And they don't understand the craftsmanship and quality and everything that goes into whether it's rubber or jacketed, right? Just the process itself starts from yarn or string or thread.
One strand of yarn, and we turn it into all these products. But before that, it is the receiving of the raw goods that come in, the yarns, the rubber, the polyurethanes. It's brought in and it's put on hold. It's quarantined until quality can do their checks on that material to make sure that our suppliers are providing us with exactly what our specifications
absolutely.
are for the
high standard.
The high standard. So after that's the material's been approved, okay, then it goes out to the departments. So we'll start with the yarn, the polyester yarn. How we take one strand of yarn and we do our own twisting of the yarns, and what we're doing is essentially we're making a rope. Okay,
right.
We're taking plies of yarn and we're twisting them together based on the specifications. And we take those plies, the weft yarn and the warp yarn. Now the weft yarn is the yarn that goes around the fabric, and the warp yarn is the yarns that run the length of the fabric. From there, we rewind them onto smaller bottoms that fit inside the loom, and then we are weaving the fabric, the inside jacket. And as I told you on the tour, this is what we see. We see all the pretty colors and the hose and the couplings and all that, but the meat and potatoes, how good your hose is how good your fabric is. If your fabric has a defect in it, your hose is going to have a defect in it eventually.
Right, okay? and I'll tell you, part of that process was watching. I mean, if you go to the National Fire Radio social media pages, YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, you'll see the looms in action. Right, we've done some posting and so on. It really is mesmerizing to begin with, but the finished product that comes out then goes through hand inspection. We met a woman yesterday who was there's people marking them with highlighters if there's an obvious defect, right? And then it comes down, and then there's somebody hand checking every single stretch of that fabric.
Exactly. So we'll weave off a continuous length of fabric, let's say 6,300 feet, continuous fabric. Cut that out, pull that out, put a new box in there, and we continue running. But we take that box of finished fabric over to what we call double inspection, and we pull every inch of that fabric back through an inspection.
It's incredible.
Hand-eye inspection, and at that time, We do any hand repairs that need to be done to the hose. The hose is, or the fabric is identified all the way through the process. We have a fabric data inspection sheet that stays with that box of fabric, and any of the repairs or any of the defects are noted on that, and it passes through the system. So we'll take that entire box, we'll double check it again before it goes through the next process. And there again, we teach our people, think of the next process as a customer. I want to give that next process the very best box of fabric that we can do. So
okay, and then extruded through the weave. Let's move through the process. So we got the weave, it's ready to go, quality checked and controlled, we're good. Extrusion.
We'll take the box of fabric and then we'll string it up to the extruder. So we string it up through a series of, the first section of it is a dryer. So what we're trying to do, we want to draw any moisture that may be in that fabric. We want to dry that. We want to take that moisture out, okay? So when that fabric goes through the extrusion and we apply the rubber or polyurethane to it, any wet spot or damp spot in there could cause the hose or the material not to adhere to it, and it would cause scrap.
Right.
So all the way through the process, what we're doing is we're pushing nitro rubber, big extruder, big screw in there, melts it, and as that fabric is going over the extruder head, we're pushing that material through the weave,
right,
to make the cover and the liner at the same time.
And so when you look when you look at the finished product, if you cut a hose in half and you see that string, it's actually that the rubber material, whatever material it is actually pushed through it to create the inner and outer.
So the outside and the inside are the same.
It's pretty wild.
It is.
Goes through its finishing, and then it's coupled, and it goes out the door.
It goes through the cure cycle, the vulcanization,
Right.
where we cure the rubber. After the cycle is done, it is hand inspected, both top and bottom, pre-marked to the determination with 100-foot length, 50-foot length, whatever. Inspected, taken off the table, brought into cut and roll where the NFP stencil was applied to it, cut and rolled, stacked on pallets, goes out to the inventory, job order comes out, we pull it off and attach the couplings to it, hydrostatically test it, and away to the customer.
And it goes to fires.
Yep.
Beautiful. I love it. And the process here very much is unbelievable. And I'm pushing for SnapTight to really start sharing the experience here, because I can tell you that 9 out of 10 firefighters don't know what go into manufacturing fire hose. And I think that that's just an incredible opportunity for you. So I'd love to see some of that content come out. We hit on so much today. We've been going for over an hour now. We had a little fumble with the live feed. The internet dropped out, but we got back quickly. Thank you for the team for that. But I do want to say, Mike, thank you. It has been an absolute honor to get to meet you and to know you now. Looking forward to doing many projects in the future with you, but it's just a lot of fun to see your passion and how much you are still in love with the product and the company after 35 years. So I truly appreciate you joining me today on the stage. Thank you for your knowledge and experience, because experience matters. And I thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Good. We're going to bring Jeff back up. So, Mike, you're out of here. You're out of the hot seat. We're going to bring Jeff Shah, the CEO of SnapTight, back up, who let us in at the 4 o'clock hour. And we're going to start the wrap here on this segment. I do want to say before I let Jeff have the closing, I just want to thank everybody that tuned in for the 4 o'clock episode, the questions that were asked. Any of the questions that didn't get answered, because I know there's a lot of them, we will get you that information. SnapTight and the team will get that information out, and so on. But just for myself and National Fire Radio, it's an absolute honor to sit here today with you and your team, Jeff. And thank you for having us. And I know there's a couple things that you want to mention before we wrap. I do want to say tonight at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, we're going to go live from the factory floor here at SnapTight. We have an incredible lineup that are going to talk everything about water and moving water, from nozzle and hose packages to myths to fact to numbers to excitement. It just goes on. And I do want to say tonight we have Captain Brent Brooks from Toronto. He was on earlier on this segment, and he's going to bring a lot to the table. Lieutenant Steve Robertson from Columbus Fire and Stretching for Success. Jerry Herbst from Elkhart Brass will be on the panel tonight. Myself as the moderator, and then Mike Woods, who was just sitting in the hot seat for the last hour with me, is going to be the firepower on the product knowledge, and we're going to have him on the table as well. So it'll be 5 of us tonight. live streaming. I will tell you this, if you're into firefighting and moving water and engine company operations, tonight is a roundtable you're not going to want to miss. So share the links, share it, get it out there, let people know. Sit around the kitchen table at the firehouse tonight and tune in, because you're gonna see some big nuggets tonight, I'm sure. And with that, Jeff, I'm gonna start to slow down here and take it away and take us out.
You sure you can slow down?
No, I can't. I can still go. You want me to keep going, Jeff? I'll keep going. Vanessa, can you just bring back the logos to round this out? And Jeff, thank you. Go
Thank
ahead.
you. Listen,
Yeah.
this has been an incredible experience. We're going to do this more often. This is a great way to get the word out about our products. As you could tell from Mike, a 35-year employee, still very passionate about the business. And what's great about this company is we've got several people like that. It's not just Mike. There's at least a dozen people like that. And we're going to feature more of them so that people get to know who it is that's making the hose. And these are made in Pennsylvania hoses. So as you heard earlier, we're very happy to talk to an end user about a particular need. And if we can figure out a way to get a product that meets that need, we're going to do it. What I would like to say to the group that's watching is we're looking for the next problem to solve. We're looking for the next big idea. So if you go to our website, snaptighthose.com/big-idea and submit your ideas, we'll go through those. And sometime later this year, we'll pick the best idea. That person will receive $1,000 worth of hose for that idea. So what we're looking for is what is still a pain point to the firefighter that hasn't been solved yet, that can be solved through a hose. And let's say that no idea is a stupid idea, because you never know what might derive from an idea that looks a little silly. So we're really interested to hear from the folks out there. What are the things that still are problems with respect to hose and fighting fires that maybe we can solve?
Sure.
We'd like to take a shot at it. The Fire Master is a good example of something where there was a lot of discussion in the industry, there was a problem identified, and no real action was taken. So we decided, well, that's wrong. We want the firefighter to be safe. That's clearly an area where the firefighter is not safe, so let's fix it. And we think we've got a great hose that will do that. So please, think about what your daily operations are. Think about things that happen that are not planned, because that tends to be when you need something you don't have. And drop us a line, tell us what your idea is. We'll take a look at it, and we'll pick something, and we'll reward that person for helping us with the next project.
What a great opportunity. Sounds good. I'd be remiss before you give your closing remarks. I do want to mention one more thing, Jeff. I apologize, and that's very much this. We do have giveaways for the registration that was done for this event generously through SnapTight and partnering with some incredible all-stars in the industry. We have 3 custom helmet fronts that are going to be given away to 3 different people that registered ahead of time from Taylor's Tins. Incredible opportunity there. The next one will be 2 passes to Eckerd Fire Tactics training that is going to be in Connecticut in conjunction with Ragtop and Capital City. That will be May 21, 22. If your name is picked for that event and it doesn't work because you live in Alaska or Hawaii or California or anywhere in between but can't make it, we are going to pass forward those passes to another winner then. That's regional. Bobby, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Taylor, thank you. And then lastly, $1,000 value for an N5A helmet with all the bells and whistles, custom upgrades, whatever you want, up to $1,000 value. That's the grand prize for tonight, and we will announce all the awards tonight and the winners right after the roundtable live tonight. So congratulations to everybody, and I just want to say thank you to everybody that registered. Thank you to all of our partners who helped out with this event. And Jeff, with that, I told you I couldn't stop. So
Yep.
here.
All I have to say,
it's all yours.
All I have to say now is it's been a great event. We've learned a lot. We're going to do this again. And
Good. We look forward to it.
we're hoping that you'll help us again
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
your crew is top notch.
Thank you.
So thank you. Thank the folks that came here to talk about their lives and what's important to them. And please tune in at 7 o'clock. You're not going to want to miss it.
Excellent. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in for this 4 o'clock session on the Product Hotspot. Anything that was discussed today can be found online through social. Talk to your dealers, get the conversation going. Let them know what your thoughts are about the FM, and we're going to get a lot more information out on that product along with the Kryptonite and the LD. Jeff, thank you for your trust in National Fire Radio in doing this event today. We'll see everybody at the 7 o'clock hour. Until then, be safe.